It's been a year, and I'm here to make it personal. My name is DaviD TaL. This is the Balagan Connection. And the reason I'm doing this now is because it's been a year since the horrific attack on October 7th, 2023. And I'm here because I'm Israeli. I know that the accent sounds American. I know I was born here, but I grew up in Israel. When I say here, I mean California. When I moved to Israel, I was 4 years old, and everything about me, everything I am, and everything I know is connected to Israel in a very, very deep way. So I'm Israeli. I served in the military. I'm an officer in the IDF. I commanded a tank company for many years, and this is one of the reasons that I'm connecting all of these dots. But there's another reason. I'm also a Jew. I'm part of the Jewish nation. The Jews are a nationality, like Anglo-Saxon, like any other nationality, and this is a part of my story. So I'm sitting here as an Israeli, but also as a Jew who has all of the heritage and all of the history of the Jewish people lined up before me, and the memories of the Jewish people lined up before me. But I'm also here because I'm a born-again Christian. And God has, in His grace, decided to save me from my sin and actually change my life and added on one more amazing, special, beautiful identity to the Israeli and the Jew, and that is a born-again Christian. And what I would like to do in the next couple of minutes is connect those identities to understand a little bit about what's going on with Israel and what happened with Israel. Because it's been a year of war. It's been a year of hell. It's been a year of so many things. And for us to stand here after a year and try to explain it is, I think, sometimes even too big for me. It's been a year since the war started, first in Gaza, and then spread out to Lebanon, and then spread out to Iraq and Syria, and then spread out to Yemen, and then spread out to Iran. And day by day, month by month, the feeling is that more and more enemies are rising up against us. It's been a year of people going into battle, getting on their vehicles and putting on their armor and getting their weapons and going into battle and putting their lives on the line for us. It's been a year of knowing that some of them will not come back. And again, anybody who's got any kind of military situation, knowing that somebody that you love is in harm's way, literally with bullets flying on, and knowing what those bullets mean and knowing what that situation actually is something that I think a lot of people don't really understand. It's been a year of Israel being totally zoomed in on this war. Our economy, our commerce, our politics, everything about us has been concentrating on this war, and our everything. I mean, the tourism has dropped out. I'm not a tour guide anymore, and it's been a year of very harsh economic problems. But more than anything, it's been a year of hostages that were actually pulled out of their beds and out of their homes and out of their bases on October 7th last year and are in hellholes in Gaza, and we have no idea what's going on with them. It's been a year of just thinking about what they're going through. It's been a year of praying that hopefully they'll come out of this alive. It's been a year of the families not knowing. It's been a year of this whole country not knowing. It's been a year of us not being able to rescue them. That is a little hell in itself. So this is what's happened in Israel. But a lot of people forget that on the outside, this has been a year of some very weird aspects. It's been a year of people at any given moment saying and planning and plotting to kill you. I mean, you got to wrap your hand around the idea that there's people on the other side of the border, in some cases inside, who just want to kill you for who you are. You've got to get used to understanding that hatred is being perpetrated at you, not because of anything you've done to them, but because of who you are. It's been a year of people screaming in the streets of cities all over the world, screaming and yelling and then explaining and then convincing why it's okay for those people to kill you, why it's okay for you to die, why it's okay to fire high explosive missiles into civilian populations, and explaining why this is acceptable behavior. And you're trying to say to yourself, wait a minute, why do they hate me so much? There's not a real good explanation besides what we're going to be talking about later, and that is because of who and what you are. But I have to say something else. It's been a year of amazing love and support from people all over the world that I didn't even know who they are. I don't know their names. I've never met them, that have reached out to me and through me to Israel and through ministries that we're connected to and showed their love and support for Israel. It's been a year of amazing support that I never thought. I mean, again, we thought this was going to be the end. It's been a year of love in the name of Jesus that has been aimed at the Jewish people. And that's also something to remember. But I want to back up a little bit. And what I would like to do, you need to understand, we're Jewish. And if you know anything about our background, Jewish have a big thing with memory. The word remember is mentioned in the Bible 250 times. Our traditions, our celebrations, our festivals always have an element of remembrance. We're one of the oldest peoples in the world. And the fact that we're here today means that we remember a lot of what's happened in the past. We're a people of memory. We remember what Pharaoh did to us in Egypt. We remember the Sabbath that God gave us. We even divide the Bible up to 52 chapters, and we read one of these chapters, and one of the chapters actually is a chapter called Remember. In this case, a very specific remember. One of the chapters, one of the parashot in Hebrew, is from Deuteronomy 25. And what it says is this, and it's very interesting that the remember parasha, the remember chapter is this. Remember what Amalek did to you on the way as you were coming out of Egypt. Remember how he met you on the way and attacked you and attacked your rear ranks, your women and your children, and all the stragglers that were in the back when you were tired and you were weary, and he did not fear God. We remember. And now we have a new Amalek. Now we have a new thing to remember. And October 7th, we were reminded why we need to remember this passage from Deuteronomy. Because they came out across the border, just like Amalek did. It was 6:29 a.m. I was sleeping in Modi'in, my apartment in Modi'in. I'm about 40 miles from Gaza, and I heard the explosions. I woke up and heard the explosions in Gaza. And by the way, I go out to my balcony. I can actually see the sky above Gaza, and I can see the plumes of smoke, and I realize that something critical has happened. I realize that this is not just another war. This is much, much more. I remember calling my wife. I remember calling my family and trying to figure out what goes on. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the border in Gaza, and very clearly it was really, really totally clear that something wacko is going on. So you turn on the TV, you start getting ideas, and you start realizing that this is not another border attack. This is not missiles that are being fired in Israel. We're used to that. This is an all-out war. And I'm sitting there watching the TV, and you start seeing some of the pictures coming in. And here's the thing. I'm a tank commander. I'm a major in the IDF. I have sat on that border at least 20 times. I've guarded that border. I know the hills. I know the valleys. I know what the fence looks like. I know the smells. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like to get rained on that border. I know everything, and I'm watching this happen, and I can't believe it. I can't believe how this is happening. I see the hole in the fence, and I see hundreds of Palestinians running across, some of them armed, and I realize that this is an all-out attack by thousands of armed Palestinians into the Israeli territory on the other side. And some of them even unarmed, some of them just getting on the bandwagon and jumping across. And then you start hearing the stories. 20 killed here, 30 killed there, casualties, and the numbers rise, and this sense of tragedy, this sense of horror, this sense of how can this be happening? I mean, this is Israel. I mean, we were here to make sure that this doesn't happen. I'm Israeli. I mean, I know the stories of what happened to my people down through the history. I heard the stories of them loading up the trains and sending them to the death camps. I know what they did in the Inquisition, but I'm Israeli. This doesn't happen to me. And realizing that it's happening. Realizing that everything that we've read about in our history, everything that we've remembered year after year, generation after generation, is happening again. I need you to understand that that's what happened to Israel a year ago. That sense of, wait a minute, we are not just Israelis, we're also Jews. Wait a minute, we're not just a people who walks around just like everybody else. We are the people who are persecuted and hated and killed on a regular basis. We are the people that God decided that we're going to be his people, but have been paying a price for it. And this realization that all of a sudden, I'm not only an Israeli, I'm also a Jew, with all of this heritage and all of this coming back on top of me, was a watershed moment. And I'm not the only one that this happened to. All of Israel, with the great military and the great technology and everything that we thought we were, and everything that we thought that the world had moved above and beyond this. We realized that and we thought that our enemies had decided to live with us, and okay, you don't like us, but live with us in peace because you're afraid of us. We thought that the world had learned to accept Israel, and all of the scientific advancements and all of the, entertainment and everything that we've brought to the world has kind of, and we realized that the hatred against us is so deep, is so enrooted, is so crazy that we're back at the same place that we read about when we were going out of Exodus and out of Egypt in Exodus. We realize that nothing is actually changed. That is scary more than the war itself. And I need you to understand that that combination of we were strong one day and we're beaten down the next day. We're capable one day and our women and children are hostages the next day. We thought that we can do it on our own one day, and we realize that we can't the next day. That is what happened on October 7th. That's deeper than anything that you read about and connect to. That's what happened to the Jewish people. So there was anger and there was embarrassment and there was, how did this happen to us? But here's something. I want to add another layer to the Israeli and the Jewish. Just to make this clear. I'm an officer in the Israeli army. Have been for the last 35 years, until about a couple of years ago. But what I'm trying to say is this. One of the main aspects that were broken on October 7th was this. The difference between a Jew who suffered all these terrible things, who went like sheep to the death camps in Germany, Nazi Germany, who moved from place to place, who looked like Tuvia in The Fiddler on the Roof, this old grumpy man who has to learn to get along with neighbors that hate him, who had to decide that Judaism is defined by the mother because so many Jewish women were being raped that the children had to be decided to be Jewish. I mean, that's the Jew of there. I thought that I was the difference as a soldier, as a warrior, as an officer between the Jew of there and the Jew of now and the Israeli. And I realized that there's no difference. And here's the main thing. Why are Jews persecuted like that? Why are Jews hated like that? Why has the hatred against the Jews been the only thing that winds down through history in such a unique manner? There's always been hatred against the Jews, and you were seeing it in Europe again, and we're seeing this deep. I mean, what does Iran have against us? Why is Iran willing to fire 200 ballistic missiles against us? What's the thing? We're hated because we're Jews. We're hated because we came from Judea. We're hated because God chose us to be the indicator for the rest of the world of what's going on. The indicator for good and for bad. God chose us to be the representative of humanity in this bigger story. God chose us to teach the world the rest of the lessons. And God chose us, and because God chose us, we're being hated on a way that no other people have ever been hated. And Isaiah actually said it really clear in chapter 40. You know, when he reaches out, he calls out to God, and he says, comfort my people. Comfort my people. Speak comfort to Jerusalem. Cry out to her, because have her iniquity pardoned, for she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The Jewish people have received double for their sins. And it's not like we don't sin. We sin like everybody else. And I'm sharing this with you because you need to understand that besides all the rest, and we'll be talking about the politics of this, and we'll be talking about the military of this, we'll be talking about all of this, but we are suffering because we're God's chosen people. And we teach the lessons. What we remember are the lessons that everybody needs to remember. I'm going to add on one aspect to this, and let's make this very, very clear. In the war between good and evil, in the war between God and Satan, in the war between chaos and order, okay, in that war, we are the main target of the enemy right now. But let me make this clear. If the enemy gets through us, be that the physical enemy, let's say Iran, if Iran manages to destroy us and get their hands on the weapons that they are thinking, they're out to get you. No matter where you are, if you're in Australia, if you're anywhere that has anything connection to Western civilization that is based on godly values, they are after you. If they get through us, they get through you. We are, like I tend to say, the canary in the mine shaft. The canary is supposed to indicate we're the evil when something is about to happen. Now, I know it's really important to have a canary in the mine shaft, and God has been using us for this role. But think about the canary. Think about what the canary and his mother have to say about being in that role. And this is something that I need people to understand about what is actually happening. But in order to finish this off, I want to share something very, very important, I think. And again, this is my mom, who the day after she got out of the bomb shelter, because the Houthis were firing rockets at Israel, ballistic rockets, and when a ballistic rocket is in the stratosphere and you're not sure where it's going to land, all of Israel actually had sirens go off, and everybody ran into their safe rooms, their mamads. And I don't know if she was in there when she kind of connected to this or later on. She sent us all on the family group text. She sent us a passage that I want to share with all of you, because this is the core of who we are. This is Psalm 124 and a couple of verses, and it says this: if the Lord had not been on our side when people attacked us, they would have swallowed us alive. And when their anger flared against us, the raging waters would have swept us away. Praise be to the Lord, who has not let us be torn by their teeth. We have escaped like a bird from the fowler's net. The snare has been broken, and we have escaped from the terrible, terrible enemy that is out to get us. Our help is in the name of the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And 1 year later, I want to say this. Our help is in the Lord. We can put together iron domes, and we can put together iron beams, and we can do the whole politics. But I want to make this very clear. This has been a year of being reminded that no matter how much and whatever we do, our help is in the Lord. And I actually wanted to come and share that with you today. So this is the Balagan Connection. And again, we are still in California. We are kind of doing a lot of work. If you want to support what's going on in Israel, if you want to support us and the soldiers in Israel and the believers in Israel, I need you to connect to Gihon Springs. There's a link down there. That's the ministry that we've put together to support Israel and show Christian love to the people in Israel. And so connect to Gihon Springs. We've been doing a lot of work. We've been kind of representing Israel at different conferences and in different churches around. And if you want to be a part, just connect to that. Connect to the Balagan Connection. Please like this. Share it. Ring the bell. Whatever. It helps get these movies out. And remember, we thought we were stronger than all of this. We realized that we need God, and we need your prayers. Thank you. Thank you for a year of supporting Israel. We need you to stand because it's not over. It's just going to get a little bit worse. This is DaviD TaL. This is a Balagan Connection. Hope to see you soon.